Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're continuing with the chapter Reproduction in Organism Part 2. Vegetative propagation. While in animals and other simple organisms the term asexual is used unambiguously, in plants the term vegetative reproduction is frequently used. It is the development of new plants from vegetative parts like roots, stem, leaf, bulbils, turnips, etc. The units or structures of vegetative propagations are called vegetative propagules. A. By root, modified tube roots of sweet potato, asparagus, yam, dahlia, etc. can be propagated vegetatively when planted in soil. In some plants, adventitious buds develop on the ordinary root like Dilbergia, sisal, papyrus, guava, etc. B. Through underground stem. In some plants, underground stem act as vegetative propagules. These are rhizome, for example, canna, ginger, turmeric, lactus. Corm, for example, gladius, colocasia, carcas, amorphophallus. Bulbs, for example, onion, garlic, and lilies. Tuber, for example, potato. Sucker, for example, mint and chrysanthemum. Creepers. In some plants, adventitious roots are developed from the nodes and from an aerial shoot. It included number 1, runner, oxalis and centrella. Number 2, stolon, strawberry and vallisneria. Number 3, offset, pistia and eichhornia or water hyacinth. Terror of Bengal. The aquatic plant water hyacinth is one of the most invasive weeds found growing whenever there is standing water. It drains oxygen from the water, which leads to the death of fishes. This plant was introduced in India because of its beautiful flowers and shape of leaves. Since it can propagate vegetatively at a phenomenal rate and spread all over the water body in a short period of time, it is very difficult to get rid of them. The last but not the least one, by leaves. Some plants produce adventitious buds on their leaves, for example, bryophyllum and begonia. These buds remain dormant when the leaves attach with the plant, but after separation, when it comes in contact with the moist soil, develop new plantlets or buds which form new plants. Some important points. In kalanchoe plant, whole portion of leaf blade regenerate a new plant. In some of the plants, fleshy axillary buds develop from axes of leaves are called bulbs. For example, oxalis. Adventitious buds arise from the nodes present at margins of leaves of bryophyllum. This ability is fully exploited by gardeners and farmers for commercial propagation of such plants. Significance of vegetative reproduction. Vegetative reproduction is an ideal method of reproduction to retain parental traits. It is beneficial to raise crops like banana, sugarcane, potato, etc. that do not produce viable seeds. Vegetative reproduction is useful in obtaining disease-free plants. It eliminates the need for special mechanisms such as pollination. Then the next we have sexual reproduction. It is also known as amphimixis or syngenesis. It involves formation of the male and female gametes either by the same individual or by different individuals of the opposite sex. These gametes fuse to form the zygote, which develops to form the new organism. It is an elaborate, complex and slow process as compared to asexual reproduction. A study of diverse organisms, plants, animals or fungi shows that though they differ differ so greatly in external morphology, internal structure, and physiology, when it comes to sexual mode of reproduction, surprisingly, they share a similar pattern. Keynote: in sexual reproduction of the fusion of male and female gametes, offsprings are not identical to the parents or among themselves. Life cycle of an organism. An organism has 3 life cycles. They are juvenile phase, reproductive phase, and senescence phase. Let's see these phases in detail. First, we have juvenile phase. It is a pre-reproductive period in which an organism reaches a certain stage of growth and sexual maturity. This phase is also known as vegetative phase in plants. This phase is of variable duration in different organisms. Next, we have reproductive phase. The end of juvenile or vegetative phase, which marks the beginning of the reproductive phase, can be seen easily in higher plants when they come to flower. It is a reproduction period. This phase is of variable duration in different organisms. Based upon flowering and fruiting parent, there are 2 types of flowering plants, monocarpic and polycarpic. Monocarpic plants. They are plants which flower only once in their lifetime. After flowering, they produce fruit and die. All annual and biennial plants are monocarpic. A few perihelion plants are also monocarpic. Certain bamboo species live vegetatively for 50 to 100 years, flower and fruit abundantly, and then die. Strobilanus kuntiana or Nila Kurenji flower once in 12 years. Last time it flowered in September-October 2006. The flowering converted large hilly areas of Kerala, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu into blue streets that attracted a large number of tourists. It shows mass flowering. Polycarpic plants. They are perennial plants which after reaching maturity flower repeatedly at intervals. For example, mango, apple, jackfruit, grape, wine, orange. Very few perennial plants bear flower throughout the year. China rose. The period between 2 flowering phases is called interflowering period, which is used for building up resources and is therefore a recovery phase. It is not the juvenile phase but is a part of the mature phase. And then we have the last phase called senescence phase. It is the end of reproductive phase and aging. Aging ultimately leads to death. There are concomitant changes in the body like slowing of metabolism, etc. The events of sexual reproduction through elaborate and complex follow a regular sequence. In both plants and animals, hormones are responsible for the transitions between their 3 phases. Interaction between hormones and certain environmental factors regulate the reproductive process and the associated behavior expression of organisms. Plants, the annual biennial type, show clear-cut vegetative reproduction and senescent phases, but in the perennial species it is very difficult to clarify the different phases or the 3 phases. Some important points: ostrich cycle. Cyclical changes during the reproductive phase in non-primate mammals like cows, sheep, rat, deer, and dog, tiger, etc. Menstrual cycle. Cyclical changes during reproduction in primates like monkey, apes, and humans. Seasonal breeders. In some animals, reproductive cycle takes place in favorable seasons as in wild animals. Continuous breeder. They are reproductively active throughout their reproductive phase. The next topic is event in sexual reproduction. After attainment of maturity, all sexually reproductive organisms exhibit events and processes that have remarkable fundamental similarity, even though the structure associated with sexual reproduction are indeed very different. So, the sequential events may be grouped into the three distinct stages: pre-fertilization and fertilization and post-fertilization. So first, in number one, we have pre-fertilization events. These include all the events of sexual reproduction prior to the fusion of gametes. Number one, gametogenesis. It refers to the process of formation of the two types of gametes, male and female. Gametes are haploid cells. Gametes may be of two types, homogametes or heterogametes. Homogametes are also known as isogametes. Gametes are not categorized as male and female gametes due to similarity in appearance. In heterogametes, male and female gametes are morphologically distinct. In these, male gamete is called sperm or antherozoid and female gamete is called egg or ovum. For example, human. Then, reproductive structures in plant. Homothallic and heterothallic. Homothallic or monoecious or bisexual condition. Male and female reproductive structures are present on the same plant. For example, coconut and cucurbit. While in heterothallic or dioecious or unisexual condition, male and female reproductive structures are present on different plants. For example, date, plum, and papaya. In flowering plants, the unisexual male flower is called staminate flower and female flower is called pistillate. Earthworm, sponge, tapeworm, and leech, typical examples of bisexual animals that possess both male and female reproductive organs, are hermaphrodites. Cockroach is an example of unisexual species. That's all for today. Hope you enjoyed it and I hope you learned something new. Much love, more blessings. See you in the next video.